Stay tuned for the Splash Live. It's time for the Splash Live from Civic Center TV, featuring stories from and about people like you in the Greater West Bloomfield area. Simulcast on cable, 89.3 Lakes FM, social media, and the web. Now live from Green Media Center on Walnut Lake Road, it's the Splash Live.
Live, local, social. It's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. I'm your host, Jake Sheff, going over all of the biggest news and events from right here in Greater West Bloomfield. This week in Laker football, the Lakers prepare to extend their dominant performance on the season with another victory and have even more of an incentive to do so this week as it's against an all too familiar opponent. This Friday, the West Bloomfield Lakers will take on Birmingham Groves, who prevailed over the Lakers last season on the road. This time the game will take place in West Bloomfield and will hopefully give the team just the boost they need to keep their winning streak alive. Yesterday, Tyler Keefe from our team hopped over to West Bloomfield High School to speak with head coach Zach Hilbers on his team's performance from last week's match against Lake Orion and what they have to be ready for against Birmingham Groves.
I'm Tyler Keefe, alongside Lakers head coach Zach Hilbers after a 33-16 victory on the road in Lake Orion. West Bloomfield is 4-0 coming into Week 5, the first time that's happened since 2022, just the second since 2015. Pretty good start for your team, and last week, second half, definitely the better performance than the first half, but overall, what did you like from the Lakers in Week 4?
I guess that third quarter, like you mentioned, where we were still winning at halftime, which was really the message to the kids at halftime. We almost did as much wrong as we could at some point in all three phases, but we were still winning. So if we could just get out of our own way and make a couple plays, then we had a real shot to blow it open, which we did. And the fourth quarter we were able to play with like a team that had a 23-point lead, and that's obviously a lot better than a 3-point lead.
So you get through the first few minutes of that game, and it seems like it's going to be a little bit of a back and forth. Both teams kind of struggling to get into rhythm early on, and despite you being able to take an early lead after a really nice return from Obi Duru, 74 yards to open the game, a short run from Jamal Shakespeare, things started to slow down and Lake Orion started to get a little bit of momentum. What do you believe changed in those next few minutes that gave Lake Orion a little bit of that momentum and led to what was eventually your first deficit of the season?
Yeah, well, I think it's probably a combination of things. One was we actually got the ball back in their field position, had a great play called by our offensive coordinator, and just our timing was off on a pass that really could have, put them in a tough spot to begin with. But when you don't hit on that, then we fumbled the snap a few plays later, and you combine that with the fact that, they played like a team that has had some tough luck this year, but they're a proud team and a proud program, and they had kind of had their backs against the wall, and they played like it. And they had some new wrinkles and tricks up their sleeve, and they executed pretty well, on our mistakes or after our mistakes. So they kind of, played a pretty good first half, but we knew if we could kind of eliminate some mistakes, we'd have a good chance.
Big returns from your special teams, something that's popped back into play in week number 4 against Lake Orion, helped you in some of those cases where the offense may have been a little bit slowed down or the defense may have been in more of an even fight than we've been used to so far this season. How big has special teams been in their performances in recent weeks to help keep the Lakers in these games when other phases are having a little bit of a back and forth struggle?
Well, it's huge. It can definitely swing a game, and it probably did in a lot of ways on Friday, like you mentioned. So I think we've improved in a lot of ways in that department, but obviously we had a few special teams blunders as well. So if we could just play clean, I think the progress of the unit as a whole has gotten better and better.
Yeah, multiple long punt returns for West Bloomfield and kick returns last week. Of course, opening in the game early on, it was the 74-yard return for Obi, and then Kalik with the 54-yard punt return for a touchdown later on in the ball game. It was 13-10 at the half. Pretty low scoring for the Lakers in that first half. A relatively even matchup going in. And it did seem like there was a bit of sputtering throughout the first 24 minutes for your team. What was the conversation in the locker room and adjustments that were made before going back out there to the second half and, like you said, having a really solid third quarter?
I guess the conversation really was, like I said, that we've messed a lot up and we're still winning by 3. So if we can just stop making some mistakes. And we had a weird week of practice. We had some guys that were sick almost every single day and had to go to the doctors with, colds, upper respiratory stuff. So, I think we look like a team that's a little disjointed and then had some missing pieces throughout the week, because that's exactly what happened. But all week we kind of talked about the opportunity that comes with that, the other side of it, and that people would get opportunity that really haven't gotten it yet this year. And in the second half, when we kind of steadied ourselves, I think they stepped up and took those opportunities.
A lot of what was, as I said, the sputtering in the first 24 minutes, there were a lot of penalties being called. And that was really across the board, all 3 phases for both teams in favor at some point of both teams. And so that can kind of be something that happens when you have players going in and out of practices and other team discussions throughout the week. So how did your upperclassmen leadership also step up communication-wise to keep your guys in the game in those second 24 minutes, the third and fourth quarter, to make that big push against Lake Orion and ultimately win 33-16?
Well, I think it's really the reason we won, is that we had really good, what I called it was emotional leadership from the senior class that knew what it was going to take to win, and that we could do it, but we had to, take the situation and the job seriously, which we did, and they didn't stop believing and kind of have everybody focused in the second half, and I think that was what helped result in some of those big plays.
33-16 victory in Week 4 against Lake Orion. For much of that second half, it was scoreless for Lake Orion, stuck at 10 points. It was a garbage time touchdown off of a penalty after time expired that led to that final score to make it 33-16. The penalty bug has at times crept in for your team in 2025, but by and large, what's been impressive for the Lakers is that when the penalties are against the other team, they're able to take big advantage of it and make something great out of it that usually shows up on the scoreboard. On the other side, when the penalties are going their way, it doesn't seem too bad, like it's starting to roll down the hill where it becomes a discipline problem. How well has your team been able to adjust when they do have those discipline issues that pop up with penalties or with miscommunications, to be able to put that in the rearview mirror and just keep playing ball each and every rep?
Well, I think penalties are always going to happen in high school football, and this is not a critique, but just because the variability in the officials week to week, they just call the game differently, and that's tough for kids that are actually, they do try to learn, they try to play by the rules, but when there's just variability, one thing might not be called one week, but it is the next. Doesn't mean it's not unfair in the moment, because I think it was evenly called last Friday, but it was just a little bit tighter and stricter, so you saw a lot more penalties on both teams. And that's just a learning process, for the kids that they have to step up to. But I guess to further answer your question, it's a little bit easier when you have a defense that can step up and stop people on a short field, because we gave them a lot of short fields, and we really kind of kept them off the scoreboard.
Yeah, by and large, it's been 16 points in total given up in these first 4 weeks. If you don't count that last touchdown from last week, it's 16 points in total. Otherwise, you get the 22, and still very impressive looking on average for 4 weeks, especially with the caliber of teams that you've gone up against. So as these first 4 weeks have come and passed, and you reflect on Week 4 against Lake Orion, what do you hope that your team continues to build on from Week 4, and what are you looking for them to adjust and change as they head into Week 5 coming back home?
Just the generic stuff, to be honest, because if you don't keep improving and getting better and growing as a team, then you're regressing, because your opponents probably are. So we just have to take each week as a challenge. We know this is a kind of the meaty grind of the schedule, and if we just do our job and keep fixing stuff that we need to fix, we'll have a chance every week.
You can stay up to date on all of your Lakers sports news on civiccentertv.com/Lakers sports. Tyler Keefe and Matt Catoni will be back in the booth this week calling all of the action and hopefully another victory. Once again, civiccentertv.com/Lakers sports for all of your West Bloomfield football news. Soul Studio in West Bloomfield's latest art exhibit was recently unveiled to the public. Worlds Beyond, an exploration of imagination, is currently available to view from now until November 13th at Soul Studio in West Bloomfield, providing another incredible opportunity for the Greater West Bloomfield community to witness the vast creativity and artistry of the Soul Studio artists. I spoke with some of the visitors at the event, as well as those who work for Soul Studio, to hear their thoughts on witnessing this magic.
I'm honestly really impressed. Like, some of the stuff in here is really good. Like, you know, walking around this art gallery, sometimes, like, I forget I'm in, like, just, like, a local art gallery. I'm like, oh, wow, this is, like, a professional studio almost. Like, it's amazing, honestly. Like, I really appreciate that they give the opportunity to everybody here, and they get this awesome creative outlet and give back to the community at the end of the day, you know?
It's incredible. I have been to every one. I have been since day one when it was just sort of a thought. So every art show is incredible. I think they get better every time.
And I understand that your daughter has some exhibits here tonight. What is it like to see her showcase her artwork to everybody?
What can I say? It's amazing. It's my motto is never say never, because she was totally nonverbal and totally in her own world for years. So a lot of therapy and a lot of friendship circle and Soul Studio. And that is why she is who she is today.
What have been some of the coolest things you've seen here tonight from the art?
Man, I would say just like the collaborative piece, which is like the main focus over there. It's awesome to see everyone work together kind of in their own way and then see it get pieced together. I really enjoy it.
How great is it to see all of their hard work pay off and to be featured in such a prominent way?
No, it's amazing, you know. It's really amazing because I kind of feel part of it, you know, and then seeing everyone get excited about their artwork hanging up, and then especially when it sells, it makes it all worth it.
And would you say with this theme, Worlds Beyond, that it's really showcasing the imagination of these artists?
Well, you know, people hold multitudes, and these artists have such rich inner worlds that once they display them and share them with us, it's a door to extraordinary place. It's out of this world.
What are some of the biggest things people can take away from being a part of something like this?
That it's not just the artwork, it's the friendships, it's knowing that you belong somewhere, nobody's questioning you, everybody loves you. It's an amazing organization. What can I say? I don't know what I would do without it.
You know, I think a big thing is like, don't judge a book by its cover, you know? I think a lot of times, like the artists that we work with, they haven't had an opportunity to present what they can do, but it's amazing to see what people are capable when given the opportunity.
And it's amazing that Soul Studio is available to provide these artists all of these opportunities. Had such a great time at the Worlds Beyond art exhibit, which once again is available until November 13th. We're going to take a quick break and jump into some more stories with The Splash Live right after this. Live, local, social. It's The Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.
We'll be right back with The Splash Live.
Wondering what to say to someone who's been sexually assaulted or abused?
I believe you. I'm so sorry this happened.
It's not your fault.
Confidential and anonymous help is available at the Michigan Sexual Assault Hotline. Connect with us 24/7. Call 855-VOICES-4 or text 1-866-238-1454 for help. Learn more at michigan.gov/voices4.
Find local municipal meetings at our program schedule on civiccentertv.com. Find when your meetings air live or when they're replaying on our Civic Center TV live stream. Find it all at civiccentertv.com and click schedule at the top of the screen. And now, back to The Splash Live.
Live, local, social. It's The Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Jake Schaff. The West Bloomfield Educational Foundation is hosting its Dollars for Scholars 50/50 raffle to support local education initiatives. The raffle drawing is going to be taking place on May 2nd of next year, so quite a while away, but there's plenty of time to sign up, with proceeds helping to enhance learning opportunities for students. And funds raised go towards scholarships and educational programs that directly benefit the West Bloomfield community. Here to tell us more is the president of the West Bloomfield Educational Foundation, Juliet Joswick. Juliet, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Jake, for having us. I'm thrilled to be here.
Absolutely glad to have you with us. Very, very important discussion we're having, such a great discussion. Can you share a little bit the inspiration behind launching the Dollars for Scholars raffle?
Sure. We want to raise money, and one of our board members, Kristen Murray, realized that there's an association for everything. So there's actually an association for educational foundations, and so we actually met with Birmingham, Livonia, Wayne, Westland, Walled Lake, and we realized that a lot of these educational foundations have all sorts of programming. We used to only have one, Casino Night, which was a fantastic event, but we realized that in order for us to capture more funds for our teachers and staff, that we needed to kind of add more events to it. And we realized that a 50/50 raffle where a happy family could win $25,000 if all 1,000 tickets are sold was a really fantastic way to bring in more money for the foundation.
Absolutely. It sounds like it. And what makes the 50/50 raffle format such an effective way to raise funds for education?
Sure. Well, it's quick. You don't have to get dressed up for it. You can just slap your wallet and open it up. Tickets are $50, which makes people a little bit go, wow, that's not a $5 ticket, but it's a fantastic value because the money that you are donating to the foundation, whether you win or you lose, you're going to win because the money goes towards our kids, which ultimately affects our community and trickles down to property tax values, property values, and being surrounded with a community that has an educational system that's in place to foster new jobs, better economy. Like it is really a trickle-down effect that is probably one of the few that's very effective.
That's absolutely right. Now, you said that there are 1,000 tickets available for this raffle, which sounds like a lot, but they can go very, very quickly. How do you think the exclusivity adds to the excitement and value for participants?
Yeah, I think not many tickets to be sold to win a 1 in 1,000 chance to win $25,000. I think those are pretty incredible odds. I don't know what the odds are at a casino or other 50/50 raffles, but a $25,000 payout is pretty big.
Certainly is. I mean, I was just in Vegas a few weeks ago. Yeah, a payout like this is certainly very, very impressive for anybody. And you just touched on this a little bit, but the proceeds for this year's raffle, how would you say those are going to be used to make an impact in the schools in West Bloomfield?
Great question, Jake. So we actually just opened up September 17th. We sent out to all our teachers and staff the opening of the grant submission. So they have a few weeks to fill out the grant request, and we make it easy because, man, these teachers are the minute they enter that school till very late in the evening. I just got a text from one of the newer teachers just telling me how excited they are that they're going to be able to apply for some additional reading material for a curriculum that the reading specialists and teachers are hoping for. So, I mean, teachers are excited. I don't want to overhype this, but it's like Christmas Day for these teachers because each grant is worth up to $750, and they can team up with other teachers, math teachers, the other teachers in their grade, and ask for a lot more. And we keep it very reasonable. We say no furniture, no food, no field trips. So the equipment that's going into the classrooms is STEAM-based. That's not just hot water. That's an acronym for science, technology, engineering, arts, and math, I believe. The things that teachers are buying are not frivolous. They are very, very rooted in education curriculum.
Sounds like a lot of great things that these teachers are looking for, and we hope that as many teachers as possible get what they want. For those just joining us right now on the Splash Live, I'm talking with the president of the West Bloomfield Educational Foundation, Juliet Joswick, who's discussing the Dollars for Scholars 50-50 raffle that is going to be taking place currently and the drawing that's going to be taking place on May 2nd, 2026. Now, Juliet, I do want to touch on something real quickly because earlier you mentioned how this type of event leads up to your annual casino night, but you are not doing a casino night this year. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe you have something else planned around that time. Is that correct?
You are correct. Thank you. What a great lead in. So Saturday, May 2nd is the date of the 2026 Kentucky Derby. And so, yes, we will be hosting a Kentucky Derby gala. So, start shopping now for your seersucker suits and your fascinators and your derby hats, because we'll have a really beautiful event at Edgewood Country Club. They have been great hosts to us before, and they have had a recent renovation. So it's always been a beautiful club, and now they've made some updates to it that are just gorgeous. We are, I don't know if this is a surprise, and maybe I will let the cat out of the bag, but we also have a really fantastic band called 50 Amp Fuse who will be playing. So a lot of excitement, people dressed up, a great band, a beautiful venue, great food for a great cause. We might have some games and some auction items, because casino nights auction items were pretty darn popular, and we want to keep that. If that's what our donors get into, then we want to make that happen for them. But yes, so that night, May 2nd, please mark your calendars. We will be having updates to our website that will talk about pricing of our tickets. But again, we're an all-volunteer board that just gets together, and with the help of our sponsors, we come up with a fantastic event. And Jake, do you mind? I also have another event coming up on October 18th. Or did I jump the gun?
Of course, go right ahead.
Okay, so the Kentucky Derby May 2nd, hopefully everyone's written that down by now. It's etched in your memory. But October 18th, we're also doing something that we've never done before with the WBEF. We're doing a fall mini photo shoot. And please hop on WBEF.org in order to take a look at the specifics. But you do have to sign up. And it's a cute little fall mini photo shoot. You get 10 plus edited images, and that money goes directly towards the West Bloomfield Educational Foundation. We have professional photographers providing the service. So yes, we have so many new programs that we want to roll out, because we know that education is absolutely paramount to the success of this community.
My goodness, there is a lot coming up, Juliet. A lot of great events to help the West Bloomfield community. I always love to hear it. Kentucky Derby event sounds like a great time. Hope to see everybody dressed, and hope that mint juleps will be provided if you're celebrating Kentucky Derby. But how do you hope to engage not only with the parents, but also the broader community in supporting events like this 50-50 raffle initiative?
That's a great question. We've joined the Chamber of Commerce that rolls out a lot of great programming. We're able to connect with local businesses. And I will tell you, every time we go into a business or connect with a corporation, when people realize the good that we are doing for our community and our future leaders, people, again, are very generous. We are hoping for some more sponsors. I think that it's a great value for those that are willing to reach in and donate and host these events that we're doing. Again, the WBEF only did one event each year. Now we're rolling out 3, 4, 5. We might do another one in January. So I am blessed with a fantastic board of directors that are absolutely not only great idea people, but they're logistically very savvy, and they are boots on the ground, get things done type of people. So I am very, very, very lucky to be surrounded by talented people.
You absolutely should be, especially with all the great events you've got coming up. I got a couple more questions before we wrap things up, Juliet. What message do you want ticket buyers to take away about the importance of their contribution to the Educational Foundation?
That's a great question. I guess I should mention again how people can buy tickets. We have a website, wbef.org, that you can hop on, and we have a little Google form for you to fill out so that we can make sure that we keep track of all the ticket sales and make sure that everything is done correctly. Anybody in the community can buy them. The winner doesn't have to be a West Bloomfield resident. Fingers crossed, it is somebody in the West Bloomfield community that wins that $25,000. But if you are a state of Michigan resident and over 18 years of age, then you can purchase a ticket. But yes, that money goes directly into our grant program. This is what the teachers really need to make their students successful. This is equipment that engages and gets kids excited about learning. I can't really think of an organization that in my heart is so meaningful. So the community gives to this organization, but what they get back in educated human beings in our community, I think that's kind of priceless.
Absolutely. Can't wait to see all of the good that comes from this initiative. Juliet, thank you so much for joining us today here on the Splash Live.
Thank you so much, Jake. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. The 50-50 raffle is going to be taking place for a while, and the drawing is going to be set to take place on May 2nd of next year. So quite a while away, but plenty of time for people to sign up and to submit their chance at winning $25,000. It's going to be great. In case you missed it, West Bloomfield Township just got a brand new look, as just recently the town's brand new logo and symbol was unveiled to the public, all courtesy of the great people over at Birch Partners. Brian Birch, one of the creative forces behind this new design, recently joined us on the Splash Live to tell us about the inspiration and what this will mean for the community. Thank you so much for joining us, Brian.
Pleasure to be here.
Really, really happy to have you with us and loving the brand new design for West Bloomfield. What inspired the idea to give the logo a bit of a redesign?
We have been working with the township for several months now, and I have a kind of personal background of visiting West Bloomfield and families, friends who lived in the area. And so I had an understanding of what West Bloomfield was all about and how desirable of a community it is to live. And we've spent these past 4 months kind of digging into that and understanding why people want to live here. We held a public forum in June to understand what issues and priorities that residents have in the community. I've listened to hours of public comment and what people are willing to stand up at a podium and ask for. Among those things is preservation of our natural world. The reason people love West Bloomfield so much is that it has this intimate connection between the outdoors and their lifestyle, be it where they live, where they shop, where they send their kids to school. And so that sustainable living and vibrant community life is really the inspiration for what you see today.
I love it. Lots of very important values and qualities that help make West Bloomfield exactly what it is. What would you say were some of the most important of those values and qualities that were important to reflect in this logo?
I think environmental stewardship was the number one. If there's anything that's distinct about West Bloomfield, is that it has a commitment to sustaining nature, sustaining wetlands. And so we actually articulated that as best as we could, bringing that great blue heron into the design itself. The heron, which was gone in West Bloomfield for a while, but has returned because of this preservation commitment in the community. It desires clean water. It desires safe spaces and safe wetlands. And that return is going to be an inspiration to all of us that the hard work is paying off. And so the blue heron is kind of this, and we've adjusted the design of it to be this lifting into flight. It's like reaching for greater. It's a growth model idea that we can aspire to something even better than who we are and what we are. So that captures what I think is the heart of West Bloomfield Township.
I love it. And I love hearing about the creative process that's going into this brand new logo. How would you say that this one differs from the previous logo in terms of style and symbolism?
Well, the previous logo is not a logo. It's the seal. Right. And in that way, it's still, I would call that a sacred element or tool. Like, we're not changing that. And you'll see the seal used in official documentation, official actions or placeholders of the Board of Trustees or other places around the township. So you'll still see it. But what we've done is we've created, I think, a marketing tool that really articulates something that can be more fun, more energetic. A lot of communities have seals, and I think they're great, and they should be used. But if we're going to go out and talk to people, if we're going to be proactive in our outreach, which is what we were called to do when we were brought onto the team, this is the right step forward. And so when you look at things like the West Bloomfield Township website, this will be integrated into that channel. You'll see it on social media channels. You'll see it in all these other places, the sides of vehicles, anywhere you can get a touch point with a resident, a visitor. You'll start to see this. Marketing banners, like there's banners that are come into the Township Hall area, the library, and the Parks building. There's these very nice banner light poles, and those will appear. The logo will appear on those. So it's a marketing tool. Let's be honest in what it is, and it's designed to really speak a specific language to the people who we want to understand this community best.
For those just joining us right now on the Splash Live, I'm talking with Brian Birch, the owner and managing partner of Birch Partners, who's talking about the brand new logo that was recently unveiled for West Bloomfield Township and the creative process behind its design. Now, Brian, you touched on it a little bit ago about how important community interaction and feedback was in helping to make this logo what it is. How do you hope residents and visitors feel when they see this new logo?
We haven't gotten a ton of feedback yet. What we have received specifically from the board, from the members of the audience who were there, lots of enthusiasm, people excited. We do understand that change is difficult, and a lot of people don't love change. And there are people who will have, this logo will have its detractors. We fully understand that. However, we really do believe that this is going to align well, authentically with who West Bloomfield is, the residents who live here, the people who own businesses here, the people who come to visit, the people who enjoy the beautiful lakes, the pristine waters. That's who we think we're really going to love this. And in the end, this will just be a part of the community as much as any of the lakes and any of the roads and whatnot.
Hey, I already see. I mean, if the feedback is anything to base this off of, I think that this logo is going to fit in just nicely with West Bloomfield and the town's aesthetic and its brand new direction. And how would you say you see the new logo representing the township's future vision and the direction it's going?
The vision itself, the township really does want to be a place for everyone. It wants to be welcoming. It wants to be inviting. And it always has been. It wants to keep that position. But I think if you look at the demographics of West Bloomfield, we're seeing people who have lived here for generations. And our goal is to find a way to bring those who are graduating from the high schools in the area and where they start their careers. Maybe they don't move here right away, but they're boomerangs. And boomerang folks are important. West Bloomfield is the place with great schools, with great roads, with great trails, with great environments. This is where we want them to start their families. We want cul-de-sacs filled with kids playing ball. We want to see that growth happen with the next generation. And so putting a great face forward, creating an image that aligns authentically with who we are, is the starting point of really that vision for the next stage of West Bloomfield Township.
A boomerang city. That's a new one. I've never heard that before, but that is so right. A very, very unique perspective on this. And you're absolutely right. It is absolutely the kind of city that you'd love to raise your family in and start your life. And this logo is going to help represent that city and the township in so many ways. Brian, I got one more question before we wrap things up. Looking ahead, how do you see the logos helping West Bloomfield stand out among other communities in Michigan?
There's a lot of competition for residents, for business, for economic development. That's nothing new. There has been for a very long time, and we maybe don't want to speak about it, but when we look at what we have as our neighbors, we have amazing neighbors. Commerce Township, Walled Lake, Novi, Northville. These are really great communities too. There's nothing wrong with them. But if we really want to stand out, we have to stand out with a really great image. We have to be able to speak who we are and say it loudly and proudly. And so the image itself is designed to be a tool to help us do that, to help the leaders of this community, whether in government, whether in leadership, in business, or whether just leaders in the community, to really say with pride, I live in West Bloomfield and I love it, and you should move here or you should start your business here too.
Well, this is a pretty good image to put out there for everybody all throughout Michigan. Brian, thank you so much for joining us today here on the Splash Live.
Thank you.
A great image for West Bloomfield and a great symbol for what our community represents. We really appreciate Brian for taking the time to talk with us here on the Splash Live. As we are currently in the middle of National Preparedness Month, it's important to go over many of the resources that are available for residents of Greater West Bloomfield. One of those services is Nixle, which helps to alert residents of any critical events occurring in the community. Joining us now on the Splash Live to tell us more is a dispatcher with the West Bloomfield Police Department, Jen Curran. Jen, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great and really, really happy to have you with us, as this is a very important topic of discussion, especially right now in National Preparedness Month. So can you explain in a little more detail what Nixle is and how the West Bloomfield Police Department utilizes it?
So Nixle is a mass notification system that allows us to send out messages, alerts, informational things about things that might be going on within the township that citizens would need to be aware of. We use them for storms. If there's a critical event going on, we need you to stay out of a particular area. Sometimes we use them as a kind of heads up for construction zones that we know are coming, projects that we know are happening, and we just try to use it to notify the citizens of things going on in the moment they're happening.
Okay, and that's good. That helps to inform a lot of the residents of the community. I am curious, how do you determine what alerts to send out? Like, what constitutes something that qualifies a Nixle alert or something that maybe isn't as important to disclose to the public?
Usually it is based mostly on the number of people it's going to affect, whether it's your route of travel and we need to kind of reroute traffic for a few hours. If it's a safety issue, we need people to stay in their homes, but we know it's going to affect a large area. We usually use those kind of determinants to decide what to send out, how often to send it out. Sometimes for our construction ones, we'll send it out multiple times as reminders just to keep it in people's heads. If it's a safety alert, we will just send it out in that moment and then we send a follow-up once it's clear. But usually it's just based on the specific incident at that moment and the number of people it's going to affect.
Okay, that's good to know. Do you know of any, maybe some recent examples or recent situations where Nixle alerts had a direct positive impact on public safety?
So we've been using them a lot recently for all the road construction we've been having, where we're shutting down lanes and streets and having to reroute people. I know we sent a couple out last week when they were doing the Walnut Lake and Orchard Lake project that on Saturday that Consumers Energy was doing. So we used those and we were able to give some citizens a couple days heads up so they can plan ahead. And then citizens would call us and say, you know, I got your alert. What's the best route you think I should take? And we're able to just kind of keep more people out of those areas to keep everything safe.
Of course, of course. And how would you say Nixle has improved communication between the police department and the residents of West Bloomfield?
So it lets us alert people easier and faster on a larger scale, which then prevents people having to call and ask us, tying up our phone lines for other emergencies that might be happening. It gives people information on the moment that it's going on and everything they need to know. So then they can look for other routes or other ways to figure out the information they need. And then it lets us tell them everything they need to know in that moment and helps us share what's going on.
Of course, good that you're able to have this direct communication with the people of our community. For those just joining us right now on the Splash Live, I'm talking with West Bloomfield Police Department dispatcher Jen Curran about Nixle alerts, a very important topic to go over, especially in the middle of National Preparedness Month. Now, Jen, I am curious, how can residents sign up for Nixle if they have not done so already? And is it free to use?
It is free to use. Anybody can sign up. There's two separate ways to sign up. So you can either text your zip code to 888-777, and that will automatically sign you up through that text message. Or you can go to local.nixle.com/register, and there's a form you can fill out there. It does give you the option to provide both an email address and a phone number, and then determine how you want your alerts received from there. Once you're in there, you can set up all your settings for how you want to receive it, and you will be on the list.
Awesome. Great that there's an easy way for everybody to stay informed of the news in West Bloomfield, and it comes at no extra cost. Now, Jen, I am curious because there are a lot of other communication tools that are used via online where that can send out information about news events and things that are happening in the community. How would you say Nixle compares to other communication tools like social media or news outlets in terms of speed and reliability?
So for us in the dispatch center, it's faster. There's a form that we fill out and then it just automatically pushes things out. What usually ends up happening is we then forward that to our Facebook page and other forms of notification. But this one in the moment works the fastest. And it gets us out to the most people because it comes through as a text message alert. You'll receive it as you would every other text message. You don't have to actively be on your social media or email or anything to be able to see it. You will get that alert pushed through to you. And so it gives you that faster notification.
Absolutely. Speed is of the essence, and it's great that Nixle is able to provide that. Now, we touched on this a little bit a second ago in terms of maybe some weather-related emergencies that Nixle helps to inform the public about. In what ways does Nixle help the department manage larger emergencies or weather-related events more efficiently?
It lets us push out additional alerts if there's warnings, when we have down trees, down wires. We can tell people what areas to stay out of. We can send reminders, don't touch the wires, don't go near trees. You know, we get those ice storms that come through and it knocks a lot of power out. This will let us notify people that we're aware of it. When they necessarily don't have that access to the internet in the moment, maybe because their power's out, it lets us contact them through text message and they can still get that information. We use it when we need people to take shelter. Maybe there's a tornado coming through, we'll send out the alert along with all those alerts you get from the news saying, hey, take shelter, something's coming. And we just try to keep spreading that information in all the different ways we're able to.
Always great to hear it. Last question before we wrap things up, Jen. Is there anything you'd like more residents to know or understand about how to make the most of Nixle that we haven't talked about already?
The biggest thing to remember is that you can't respond to it. It is a one-way transmission. So if you have a further question or there's more information you need, or maybe you have more information than what we presented in that Nixle, you'll have to actively contact us at the station, usually through our non-emergency lines, just to either ask your question or give us that information you have. If you respond to that text message, we cannot receive it.
Okay, that is very, very important to know, and hopefully a lot of residents are watching this, and if they have not signed up for Nixle already, they will do so. Jen, thank you so much for joining us today here on the Splash Live.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You as well. Very, very important information for everybody to remember throughout the month of September and beyond. Just because it's National Preparedness Month right now, that doesn't mean that worrying about preparedness doesn't end when September ends. It's important information to know at all times. So we really appreciate Jen for stopping by and for telling us all about the Nixle alerts. Right now, the Kids Clean Water Calendar Contest is underway with Oakland County. The Oakland County Water Resources Commissioner has been running the contest for over 20 years, inviting 4th and 5th grade students to explore how to protect and preserve local freshwater bodies such as lakes, rivers, streams, and watersheds. The commissioner himself, Jim Nash, recently joined us on the Splash Live to tell us more and about how you can get involved.
Thanks for joining us today, Commissioner.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, glad to have you on about this. It's something that gets the kids really excited year in and year out, gets their artistic genes moving forward and gets them creative and learning all in the process while having them a chance to display their art across the county. Give us the basics on the Clean Water Calendar Contest, what's going on with it in 2025.
Well, I'm glad I followed your previous show. This is about protecting our watersheds, learning about them, knowing what's in them. And this has been going on 21 years, long before I was in this office. And it's an effort to explore our watersheds and teach our 4th and 5th graders across those watersheds all about the environment, how we're protecting it, how they need to help protect it. The history of it, the long term of it, the great strides that have been done in terms of cleaning up that water and how we need to keep doing that. It brings in anywhere from 700 to 1,200 student art projects that they bring in. This works with their curriculum to help really bring it to life. When 4th and 5th graders come to these things, they learn about things, they see bugs under microscopes, it really fills in their imaginations and it carries forward. I've had young people come up to me, college students, who said they remembered going to this and how important it was. So it's one of those things that teaching everybody, and a lot of these kids take it back to their families and talk to them about all these things that are happening and have happened.
And it gives them an ability to learn and express what they've learned, put some context to it, help others learn as well, and it gets them engaged in a educational topic that may otherwise slip through in a classroom environment. How have you and others that help to oversee this contest found that this does engage students beyond what they would get in the traditional, more rote learning environment?
Oh, certainly. So, this is part of what we do. It's all around education. We have watershed festivals for 4th and 5th graders. And they come to Cranbrook Museum of Science, or they go to Oakland University campus. And they go off into all these different stations where they can learn different things. And it really does have an impression. Like I said, we had a young woman come to us looking for a job and said she remembered going to that, and that was the reason she wanted to come to us. So this kind of thing does have a huge impact. Again, we go to the schools that are in each one of these watersheds. So it's a certain number of schools. And again, we get between each one of them 700 or 1,000 that come in to do this for the art contest. So all these are different parts of that education project, and all of them have an impact on their families, and the future. We're touching the future in a way that really brings it to them. And once you catch the imagination of a young person, they can follow that their whole lives. And I think that's important.
The Oakland County Water Resources Commissioner's Clean Water Calendar Contest is open right now. You can get more information and submit your entries. 4th and 5th graders only. oakgov.com/calendar contest for more information. Once again, that's oakgov.com/calendar contest. We're joined by Oakland County Water Resources Commissioner Jim Nash on the program. As I mentioned, Commissioner, it's open to 4th and 5th graders specifically. That's the pool of artists that are going to ultimately be selected for these 12 different art pieces to go into this calendar. Why the focus specifically on those age groups in 4th and 5th grade?
Well, it's when they're really learning about these things for the first time in schools. So this backs that up again. It's tied to their curriculum. We want to make sure that they get that actual, tactile, that vision, that they see things rather than just reading them in a book or in a picture. So I think that's very important. And again, our partners, I mentioned Oakland University and Cranbrook Institute of Science. Cranbrook has been working with us from the beginning on this and on the watershed festivals. This is an amazing, I think the best cultural institution, right there with the zoo, but right there in Oakland County and one of the best in the state. So this is that they're reaching out, we're helping them do that. The more we can work with and leverage all this out, the better we're off in the long run. This is part of our permits to do public education. And I have a nonprofit that helps fund a lot of this through Oakland Water. We work with, Oakland University and Cranbrook to do this. And partners are very important in all our communities. Oakland County Schools plays a part. The communities we work with in their schools all play a part in this. And it's a wonderful way of uniting everyone around the cause of protecting the environment that we all depend on.
Entries are due by October 3rd. So now through October 3rd, these kids can make these pieces, send them into the county, and then those winners will be selected. Those 12 winning pieces by mid-November, they'll be announced, and it includes a number of different prizes. Of course, recognition via a virtual exhibit, a calendar inclusion, some fun swag and art supplies as well. And these entries, they do have some specific parameters, Commissioner. Can you give us some details on what you're looking for from these 4th and 5th graders in terms of these art pieces and what is allowed to be entered into this contest?
Well, we break it down into 12 kind of parts. So there's one for each month. You're looking at things like protecting our water, what's in the water, what we can do as individuals, what we can do as communities, and how things work. So these are all kind of, each year they're a little bit different. There'll be different categories, and they go out to the schools, so the schools see that, and then it's part of their curriculum, so the students pick out what's most interesting to them. And I can tell you, some of the art is absolutely amazing. I mean, some of it looks like it's done by adults, done by real, active artists. We've had several that have, actually 2 people have won both in 4th and 5th grade, have won the top prize, which is they get the most of the swag and most things like tickets to Cranbrook for their family for the year, and just a bunch of different things, art supplies and all kinds of different stuff like that. So we have this in December, usually 2nd or 3rd weekend, Saturday in December, where we have this at Cranbrook, where we give it to the kids and have a little, lunch, and it makes a real event for the ones that win. And there's some runners up too. So this is all to, really spur that interest, get them going in terms of knowing what they live in terms of the environment, how they can work to protect it. It's just vitally important, and it really does. It gets back to families, it gets back to communities. We really work well with all our partners.
And as Oakland County faces water-related challenges, as much as they're able to overcome them in comparison to some other communities that may have even greater struggles or struggle with similar issues on a larger scale, how do educational efforts like this help to contribute to the county and ultimately your office as well, being able to address these issues and put some solutions in place that support the residents who are here in our communities?
Well, just getting the word out. Education is vitally important so people know what we're doing and the reason we're doing it. Climate change is bringing much stronger storms, much heavier rain than it had just 30 or 40 years ago. And they've increased dramatically, and we expect them to continue increasing. We have to build our infrastructure to be resilient to these storms, so there's less damage. We can recover right away. We're not worrying about damage to property or homes, businesses, even nature itself. So we have to build these things stronger. We have to make them, up to the storms, and any way we can to get that message out, we do as much as we can. This is one of those ways, the calendar contest and the watershed festivals. It's how that's done. We need to make sure people understand what we're doing and how they themselves can help. Putting in green infrastructure, rain gardens, planting trees, putting in rain barrels on gutters. That kind of thing means less gets into the system, and the less it gets into the system, less treatment, the less flooding, the less pollution. That's important that people understand that. And that's why we do this all the time. We do this in other counties too. We help watershed festivals on the Detroit River, even down in the downriver. There's another one that we do down there. So all of these have an impact on their local communities. We help people understand those things, and it's valuable to make sure that we can do what we need to do, and the citizens know why and what we're doing.
And it's providing solutions to problems, not simply preaching about the problems themselves. You can say, look, we have an issue with runoff. We have an issue with too much fertilization of our yards and all these other issues that people have been preaching about and saying that they're problems for our environment, problems for our watershed for a number of years. But then we talk about those rain gardens and other solutions as being ways to counteract some of those issues or even prevent some of those issues. That gets the people in the community going and actually focusing on the issues at hand instead of that debate back and forth. Water Resources Commissioner Jim Nash is with us on the Splash Live today. Their calendar contest for 4th and 5th grade students to promote clean water in the Oakland County area is ongoing. Entries are allowed now through early October. oakgov.com/calendar contest for more information. Commissioner Nash, before we let you go, anything else that we should know about this contest or other conservation efforts and educational opportunities coming up through your office?
We're doing lots of projects. We're doing a green infrastructure project in the southeast corner of the county where we're offering up to $2,000 rebates for folks to put rain gardens, trees, or rain barrels on their properties to reduce rain flow. And that's very, very popular. And other communities that I've talked to about this are very interested in doing that. So it's building this knowledge. And when you just said a couple of minutes ago about runoff and about the pollution things, you know that now. I mean, I've talked to you and I've talked to others on this station, and so you know that now. And maybe a few years ago you wouldn't have talked about that. You wouldn't have known about that. So it's getting that message out is super vital for folks to understand. And just day-to-day talking to other people. You saw a huge storm the other day. What happened? Did you see flooding? And so and then you hear, well, I hear they're doing a project about that. So it just gets through the communities, and then they realize that this is going to save them from having flooding problems in the future, from seeing, pollution, fish kills in lakes, that kind of thing. You mentioned fertilizers. That's a big issue on shoreline, on riparian land, where you're on shoreline of water. If you have too much, it gets into that water, and that's what breeds algae and bacteria and things that rob oxygen and can kill fish. So all these things are important, and we do as much of this as we can to get out there and show people how they can help this without big costs, without huge, investments in things, just doing things a little differently so they can protect those resources and their own property.
And something as simple as a calendar contest can get the creative juices flowing now in 4th and 5th grade, and you'll get 10, 15 years down the road, those kids are making those solutions happen for the future of our communities as well. Jim Nash, thank you so much for joining us today on the program.
Really appreciate being here, and I always like coming, so.
Love to see events like this in the community, and always a wonderful opportunity to be able to showcase a lot of creativity within it. That's going to do it for us today here on the Splash Live. Big thank you to all of our guests and for everybody on the team for making this show possible. I've been your host, Jake Schaff. Live, local, social. It's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.